Hey there, Eric Bancroft coming to you on behalf of the Clarity Crew with your 5 at 5. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been disappointed? I have, and honestly, right now I am. I am because I just had to earlier today announce a decision that we were making as a church, which was that we are not meeting this Sunday. This Sunday was going to be the first time that we were going to meet as a young church for the first time in over 15 weeks. But as you know, because of COVID-19 with different church closures in different states, here in Miami, Florida, things have gotten worse. Because of that, due to a number of variables, we can't meet. We've been looking forward to this for so long. And I'm reminded of what happens when we get disappointed. Disappointment often leads to discouragement. Discouragement as we continue to process and listen to the thoughts in our mind and begin to give interpretation to different things can lead to despair. And despair, if held long enough and silenced and removed enough from others, can lead to depression. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Discouragement gives way to, or disappointment gives way to discouragement. Discouragement gives way to despair, and despair gives way to depression. And I'm thinking about what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow I've been asked to go with some friends scuba diving. And one of the things that happens in scuba diving is you can get vertigo due to the equilibrium in your ears and losing the quiet pressure with perhaps one of your eardrums. You can get disoriented and believe that up is down and down is up, and unknowingly be swimming the wrong direction. And they teach you in training in scuba diving that you should trace the bubbles. The bubbles are always going to rise up. Instead of swimming down, you should go up. Friends, that's exactly what we have to do as Christians. Because oftentimes in our lives, we encounter circumstances, and you know them. You're experiencing them in ways that I haven't even experienced. Perhaps it's the difficulty of a disease that you've been diagnosed with. Perhaps it's the overwhelming discouragement of a friendship that's been wonderful for so many years, but now seems to be falling apart. Perhaps it's yet another extension on your company giving a furloughed announcement for your job. Any number of circumstances that we can experience can lead to this descending order that I just described to you. And we've got to trace the bubbles from Scripture to take us back up. And I'm reminded of how that's done in the Scriptures. So often in the Bible, Psalm 13, Psalm 79, Habakkuk 1, the writers are saying, "How long, O Lord? How long?" And they're asking questions from all kinds of circumstances, the kind of events that they're facing, the kind of circumstances and feelings that they're going through, the disappointment that they have, the wonder if God even cares. But notice already the early direction they're going. They're swimming up, not down. They're taking their questions to the Lord, not keeping it to themselves. Not because it's a quick fix. Not because with the question itself you find a happy answer and an easy decision, but because it begins to move you in the right direction. A direction that brings you back to clarity in the midst of what feels like insanity. Listen as the psalmist in Psalm 13 brings these reflections to an end. In the midst of all these questions, the psalmist says this, "But I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me." What he's doing there is not denying the difficulty of his circumstances. He's not dismissing the hard questions that he has of God expressed in prayer, but he's finding his bearings. He is moving upwards and not downwards with what he is experiencing and trusting in what is true and good. Who is God? How has God acted throughout his life? What is God doing now, even if mysterious and sometimes hidden? He is doing all things for his people's good and God's glory. Friend, I hope that encourages you today. As you think about this, let's move up, not down. Let's trace the bubbles from the Scriptures in our life. This is Eric Bancroft on behalf of the Clarity Crew. Have a great weekend.